this completely misses. Climate change is opening the Arctic Ocean, not in a century, not in 50 years, in the next decade. The northern sea route along Russia's Arctic coast is already ice-free for 4 months per year. By 2035, scientists project ice-free conditions for 6 to 8 months annually. By 2050, the Arctic Ocean could be navigable year-round. This isn't environmental tragedy. This is the most significant change in global trade geography since the opening of the Suez Canal. The northern sea route cuts shipping time from Asia to Europe by 40% compared to the Suez route. That's 14 days versus 21 days from Shanghai to Rotterdam. For a container ship burning $15,000 in fuel per day, that's $105,000 saved per voyage. Multiplied across thousands of ships per year, we're talking billions in annual savings. But the northern sea route runs along Russian-controlled waters. Russia can close it at will. China, recognizing this strategic opportunity, has declared itself a near-Arctic state and invested heavily in icebreakers, Arctic research, and partnerships with Russia to secure access. Now here's where Greenland becomes the choke point. Any ship using the northern sea route must pass through the Greenland-Iceland-UK gap, the GIUK gap. During the Cold War, this was the strategic barrier where NATO submarines waited to hunt Soviet vessels. Today, it's the control point for Arctic commerce worth trillions annually. Whoever controls Greenland controls one side of the GIUK gap. Whoever controls the GIUK gap can monitor, tax, or block shipping through the Arctic. This isn't theoretical. Denmark already controls shipping through the Danish straits between the Baltic and North Sea. They know exactly how to monetize maritime choke points. But Denmark cannot develop Greenland's position properly. They lack the military power to enforce control against Russian or Chinese challenge. They lack the capital to build the port infrastructure that would support Arctic shipping. They lack the strategic vision to understand that the GIUK gap in 2050 will be as valuable as the Strait of Hormuz is today. America understands this perfectly. A U.S. controlled Greenland means American dominance over Arctic shipping routes. It means ability to pressure both Russia and China economically by controlling their access to the most efficient Asia-Europe route. It means trillions in strategic leverage over global commerce. The military positioning component is what finally makes this non-negotiable. And the numbers here are so stark that even people skeptical of strategic arguments have to acknowledge the logic. Greenland sits directly between North America and Eurasia. Any Russian ICBM targeting the American heartland would fly over Greenland. Any Chinese missile aimed at the west coast would pass near Greenlandic airspace. This is simple geography. The shortest path from Moscow to Washington crosses the North Pole, which means crossing Greenlandic territory. Patuxent Space Base, the American installation in northern Greenland, hosts the most important early warning radar in the U.S. missile defense system. This radar provides 15 to 20 minutes warning of ballistic missile launches. That's the difference between having time to respond and facing a surprise attack with no defense. But Patuxent exists only because Denmark allows it under the 1951 Defense Agreement. Denmark could theoretically terminate that agreement or restrict American activities. In practice, they won't. But in practice, they won't is not a basis for national security planning when we're talking about nuclear early warning. Strategic planners require certainty, and certainty means sovereignty. American control of Greenland means permanent guaranteed access to the early warning systems that protect 330 million Americans from nuclear attack. No negotiations, no agreements that could be canceled, no dependence on Danish political decisions. Beyond missile defense, Greenland's position makes it the unsinkable aircraft carrier for Arctic operations. The distance from Patuxent to Moscow is shorter than the distance from Virginia to Moscow. American bombers and fighter jets based in Greenland can reach targets across Russia, northern Europe, and the Arctic Ocean with minimal refueling. During any future conflict with Russia or China, Greenland becomes the forward operating base for the entire northern theater. Air superiority over the Arctic, submarine operations in the GIUK gap, surveillance of Russian northern bases, all of it depends on access to Greenlandic territory. Right now, that access depends on Danish permission. In a crisis, Denmark might face political pressure from other European nations to restrict American military operations that could escalate conflict. American strategic planning cannot accept that uncertainty. Then there's the China containment strategy, which is where everything comes together into a coherent picture of why Greenland specifically matters right now. China's Belt and Road Initiative aims to create global infrastructure networks that reduce dependence on American-controlled trade routes and American-aligned institutions. The Polar Silk Road is the Arctic component of this strategy. China has invested in Icelandic infrastructure, Finnish railways, Norwegian shipping, and Russian Arctic energy projects. They've built 5 icebreakers with plans for more.